Good morning, 5th grade, and happy Friday. I'm here to review practice C with you guys and then get started on the next assignment, which is going to be a Unit 3 review and test. I put it in quotes because I'm not going to grade it like a test, but it's going to be a chance for you to practice all of the knowledge you've gotten throughout the entire marking period. So let's take a look on page 126 for practice C. I'm going to read this remember box so that we have a quick reminder of what we're looking for as we read. Learn the meanings of the verb pairs teach and learn, sit and set, and let and leave to use them correctly. As you know, we've got a review of those definitions on page 124. So if as you're reading you don't quite understand my correction, take a look at page 124, review the definitions and the examples, and try and share it with someone else and see if they can help you make a little bit more sense of it. As I mentioned on Wednesday when we got introduced to this section, it's okay if sometimes when you speak, you use these words differently. That's fine. When you're speaking, it should be informal, it should be familiar, it should be what you're comfortable with. But when you're writing, we want to make sure that we're being the most professional that we can, that we're expressing ourselves in the clearest, most specific way. And the way that we're going to do that is to memorize and practice the definitions of these 3 sets of words. So here we are, we're going to review Mr. Smith's rules for training dogs, and we're going to correct his 8 mistakes. As I'm reading, I'm just going to read the correct version. I'm going to give some snaps when we get to those mistakes. So if you're reading along with me, I'm going to try and go nice and slow. When you're reading along with me, there's a place where you made a correction, but you don't hear me correct it, you're going to need to take that correction away. But as you're reading, you hear those snaps, but you didn't see what was corrected, take the video back a few seconds and really look carefully for those differences. So here we go. Keep training sessions short. Puppies and dogs have short attention spans. Set a time limit of 10 or 15 minutes for each training session. Usually, you can teach a dog more in 10 minutes than in half an hour. Never let a dog get bored with its training. Stay calm and in control. Training should be enjoyable for you and your dog. If you can't control your feelings, sit down or leave the room. Reinforce with praise. When your dog learns a lesson, praise it. If your dog doesn't learn a lesson, never hit it. You cannot teach a dog to do anything by punishing it. Be consistent. In each session, know exactly what you want to teach your dog. Set simple goals. For example, don't let the dog get confused by trying to teach it too much in one session. End on a positive note. Every training session should end with praise. Provide a treat and words of praise. Otherwise, your dog might sit down and not take part in the next session. So, look back, check that you've made those 8 corrections. We've found, it looks like 4 corrections in teach and learn, 2 corrections in sit and set, and 2 corrections in let and leave. So keep an eye out for those. Double check that you've used the correct forms. You can use the examples on page 124 and 125. You can use my voice and snaps as your indicator, or you can read it out loud to someone in your house and have them help check through it. Now, practice D you should have done on your own. I'm not going to go over because every single person is going to have a different answer. Just make sure that as you're writing 2 or 3 sentences for each question, and you're using each set of words correctly. So in number 1, you're using teach and learn. Number 2, you're using let and leave. Number 3, you're using sit and set. Now, we're going to get our next assignment. Your next assignment has 2 parts. Part 1 is the Unit 3 review, which is page 128 and 129. This goes through all of the lessons from lesson 15, which is all the way back on page 72, to lesson 28, which is the one we just finished yesterday. So as you're working through this Unit 3 review, something you might need to do is go back to that page that it tells you. Go back to page 72 and look at what action verbs are and find out how we can identify the action verb and how we can identify from lesson 16 direct objects. So use the practice that you have in your blue books. Everyone should have, you're probably missing a few of those practice C pages, but everyone should have the lesson page, and if you don't, send me a message and I'll scan it and get it to you. So you're going to complete the Unit 3 review, which is just a couple of questions on each one of these. We practiced them pretty diligently, and you guys worked really hard in class and at home on each of these lessons, but some of them were a long time ago. So you've got the lesson pages. If you need more resources, just shoot me a message, and I'll be able to send along videos or exercises online that might help you. After that, you're going to complete the Unit 3 test. For this, absolutely, positively, go back and check on those lessons. So in this first section, we see fill in the circle next to the sentence that spells and uses verbs or contractions correctly. So you're going to want to go back and check on several of these. So make sure that you're using each of those lessons. They don't tell you which lesson to use, but I think that you're going to be able to identify some of those mistakes. What doesn't sound right? What doesn't look right? What can you identify as the potential error there? Then you're going to complete the paragraph, and you're going to make sure that each of those verbs is used correctly, and you're just going to fill in that blank. Next week, we're going to start in on Unit 4, so trust your instincts and just do your best on this section. It's something that we haven't typically done, but I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys work with it. So finish up Unit 3 review and the Unit 3 test, and have a wonderful weekend.